Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is able to hear me and everyone is able to see my screen. If possible, can someone please confirm if you are able to hear me clearly and able to see my screen?
Yes, we are able to hear you.
Thank you.
We are able to hear you.
Thank you. So in the last class, someone mentioned that they have some issues. I'm not sure is that participant is joined. In the last class, someone mentioned me that they have some execution or some issues. Is that participant joined or not? Okay, maybe it's not there. Yeah. So just repeat just what I mentioned in the last class. Okay. We discussed about circuit breaker with a resiliency forge. That's a point we discussed here. As part of resiliency forge, okay, we are going to have three statuses. That is open status, closed status, half open status. Open status, closed status, half open status. When the circuit is in closed status, always hits the primary API. When the circuit is in open status, always hits the fallback API or a secondary API. A circuit is in half open status, it will try to move either closed to half open or off open, open to closed or closed to open. Or it will keep again in the, it is retrying mechanism. So what exactly they mean? We are going to define some configuration. The configuration, based on that configuration, we are going to have couple of statuses, open, half open, as well as closed. So what is the meaning here? We don't want to perform health check on every time. Okay. If the circuit is in closed status, it always hits the actual logic. And during that journey, if I see that there is a percentage of failure rate, okay, there is a percentage of failure rate is fail. There is a percentage of failure rate is reached, like in a X number of calls. If there is a percentage of failure rate is reached, then automatically it seems that it is not a real fail. It is not an intermittent failure. It's a real failure. Automatically, if the percentage of threshold is reached for a finite number of calls, then it will go to open status. That means it's a failure. And I can determine how much time it should be in a open status. I can measure, I can define how much time it will be in open status. Okay. So by default, open status is nothing but typically it will always hit the alternate API. That means my actual logic is down. It will hit the primary, secondary API or alternate API. Now, after how much time? Maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It depends on configuration. And after that, it will retry. Just like, is the API is back again or not? The reason is, for example, I am working on development. Initially, I thought 10 minutes, but it is going to take more time, more than 10 minutes, right? That's why I thought of trying on a number of calls, on a frequency of 3 calls, at least one success. Then it will move to closed status. If all are failed, again it will be in open status. So this is the typical concept of resiliency 4J. That is what I discussed in the last class. Completely theoretical part I discussed here. Is that participant who asked me last time having a hands-on issue? Is that joined back? I forgot the name actually. Is that participant joined again? Because in the last Saturday class mentioned that some issues on execution side. Let me repeat, guys. One of the participants mentioned that he has hands-on issues. He's not there. Okay, that's fine. Okay, before I proceed further, any questions so far as of now? As of now, any questions before I proceed further? Now, we are going to the same point here, guys. Okay, I'll go to execution part. First, let me show you circuit breaker with a Hystrix pattern. Okay, that's hands-on. I want to show you here. Let me increase the font. Yeah, same example, sir. There's the same example, no difference at all. Where we have order service, payment service. So same examples are whatever I discussed in the API gateway. Whatever I discussed in the API gateway, order service, as well as payment service. That is registering to service registry. Okay, that's registering to service registry and having a gateway with a cloud config server. So these are the things I added, right? So to the same example, I added Hystrix. Okay, guys? Same example, sir. I have not taken a new example. The same example I have used. And for that, I have added a Hystrix circuit breaker. Okay? Right. Now, in my context, guys, it is my design, okay, on constructing the circuit breaker. Hystrix, okay? For example, sir, I have, okay, order service. And I have a payment service. I have a order service. And I have a payment service. Yeah. Now these are connected to where it is connected to service registry, correct, right? As well as API gateway, which is internally having config server, right? Which is internally having config server. So by default, any request outside of any request from Angular, React, or Postman or browser, any of these requests. Okay. Now this is the architecture we have in the last example. It's connected to first where? Gateway. Gateway in turn talk to registry, also in turn talk to config. And from there, these two services will be interacting. This is architecture, right, sir? Yes, sir, no? This is architecture, right, sir? So far. Now here, I need to have a fallback API. When order service is failed, payment service is failed, I need to construct. As I mentioned, guys, every microservice cannot have alternate API or fallback API. Correct, right? Can I construct a fallback API for every microservice? Can I do that?
No need.
No. No, not no need. We cannot achieve.
Yeah. Correct.
That's the point here. Sorry. We cannot achieve first of all. Okay. Why? Because for some of the services, we don't have a mechanism. We don't have a mechanism. We don't have a design in place. Okay. Now, order service is there, payment service is there. Yes. When order service is failed, I can have some kind of fallback. Payment service is failed, I can have some kind of fallback. I can construct, I can keep in design. Okay. Now, what I want is order service failed as well as payment service is failed. I want to construct the API here. Okay. So, what I mean to say that here is Mr. Vinod, can you go on mute? If you have a question, no issues. If you don't have a question, please go on mute. Yeah. So, what I am going to do is, let me write order service failure. As well as here I am going to construct fallback. Order fallback. As well as payment fallback. Sir, what we'll write inside fallback is our design, sir. Circuit breaker doesn't tell me anything. Resiliency 4J doesn't tell me anything. It's your logic. What you will write inside that, what you are going to write inside that, it doesn't have anything here. Okay. Now, in my microservice, order service is listening on which port number, sir? Order service is listening on 9192. Okay. This is available on 9192. Okay. As well as payment service is available on 9191. Okay. Now my next question. Do I need to write a microservice, separate microservice, order fallback, payment fallback? Or can I write in the same order service itself? I discussed this point during discussion, but again repeating here. Now next point is, do I need to write order fallback service and payment fallback service in 9192 or 9192 or 9191 itself? Or do I need to construct a new service? Do I need to construct a new service or can I write inside that? Any idea? I discussed this actually, I guess. Not I guess, I'm 100%. I discussed, yeah. Do I need to write a new API or within that I can write? Any idea? Okay. Definitely we cannot write inside that. Order fallback, I cannot write 9192. Payment fallback also I cannot write 9191. Why? I cannot write within that. That's for sure. 100% I can assure. I cannot write order fallback in order service, payment fallback in payment service. Sir, we are having a modular architecture, right, sir? All order related will be order only. All payment related will be payment only. If it's working, what exactly do? If it's not working, what exactly? We should write inside that, right? But that's not applicable here. Okay? Why? Because when I stop order service, 9192, entire things are stopped. I cannot control 9192. Some controllers it should be available. Some controllers it should not be available. Can I do that? Order main controller, order fallback controller. Both are accessible by 9192 itself. Order main controller, order fallback controller. Both are accessible via main controller. Can I typically achieve 9192 is down, but I want only fallback to be up. Is it possible? Technically not possible.
No,
Correct,
it's
right?
not possible.
That's why we cannot write fallback service in the same microservice itself. It's 100% sure. We cannot write like that. The reason is, even though it's a similar functional item, fallback also functional item only, right? Something like that. It's related to order, related to payment, right? But as part of cohesion, bonding is concerned, it should be outside of that particular service. Understand clear, everyone? Now, do I need to create a one more thing? 9193, 9194. The next point is we cannot write inside that, right? We cannot write inside that. Now, do I need to write a separate service? 9193, 9194, something like that? That all depends on your complexity. That all depends on your complexity. Okay? Mostly, sir, our fallback methods, sir, should be simple. The reason I mentioned is, I clearly mentioned condition supply. What is the conditions are here? What exactly the condition? Always secondary path should not fail. This is an important point. Please remember this point. Always secondary path should not be fail at all. We need to design a fallback path in such a way that it should not give any exception or error. You remember this, guys? Second point, limitations. Mostly a very small snippet of code we should have. That's why what I have done is, in my point of view, I'm not generalizing. I will write the fallback API. Okay. Order service.fallback, as well as I'm going to keep inside API gateway itself. So what I mean to say that here, order service fallback as well as payment service fallback, that should be inside API gateway itself. I'll explain that. So what I'll do is, let me change here. where I'll move this guy to end. Okay. Config server. Okay. Now, what I'll do here, order service fallback. Or else, sorry, it's config server. I'm going to where here order fallback. Payment fallback. Order fallback. Payment fallback. All these three are inside API gate. All these three are inside API gateway. So that I no need to construct one more microservice. I no need to construct one more microservice itself. Sir, is my API gateway will be overloaded with that logic? That's why I told it's purely my perspective. I feel that my logic inside auto fallback, my logic inside payment fallback is very less code and does not have a major functional flow. I can take it gateway level itself. I can take it gateway level itself. So that why at gateway level? Why not at config server? Why not at registry level? Why only gateway level? Because gateway is the one which is deciding which API it should call. Correct, right? It have its own configuration. Gateways have configuration, right? And which is going to verify with registry and is the service is up or not, and is the service is defined properly or not, and whatever the gateway configuration is matching with registry configuration, then only gateway will redirect, right? Gateway will call discovery service and let discovery service findings. It is going to call the actual API, correct, right? So when actually I want to hit order service, that time gateway will query service registry. And if it seems that order service is not up, rather than redirecting to the actual API, let me redirect it to the fallback API. Correct, right? The triggering point is at gateway level. Please understand carefully why I write at gateway level is triggering point at gateway level. I have a gateway configuration. Any request comes to gateway, it will take the configuration and it is going to discover the service registry and it is going to cross check and it is going to verify health check and then it will go to order service dot that respect to API. At the same junction, in the same point of time, where I have a TL configuration, if order service is down, my service registry is giving a bad health check, then rather than hitting the actual API, let me hit the fallback API. Gateway is the best place. Is that correct? Do you agree, guys? Everyone is agree? And I'm telling that it's always not mandatory. It's not always mandatory. You can write your own microservice also. And you can redirect to the respective microservice also. You can do that. It's not at all mandatory. Understand, sir? Everyone is clear so far? Are any specific questions on this point? The place where I can write fallback or the design how to do a fallback. Any questions here as of now? Chaitanya, Vinod, and by the way, let me ask again. Someone asked me, sir, I'm sorry. In the last class, they have some hands-on issues. Someone asked me, is that participant is joined? I'm really sorry to ask this many number of times. Is that Ramesh? No. Okay. Someone asked me, I forgot that name. Okay. As of now, any questions here? Vinod, Chaitanya, anyone? Okay.
No, sir.
Sir, I'm thinking like whether it
Yeah,
is
sir, one
possible
small doubt.
to use
One
this,
second. Yeah, go ahead.
use this Hystrix without
Hello?
Eureka registry. Is it possible?
Is the Hystrix is without Eureka.
Without
Right?
Eureka, registering to Eureka, yes. Because we don't use Eureka in our project. We use Kubernetes service directly to call the APIs. So, kind of don't have Eureka.
Okay. It's a very good question. By default, sir, if that is the case, the circuit breaker is going to, Hystrix is going to verify how it will going to verify health check? You need to write actuator endpoint. Okay. And that actuator endpoint is going to verify the health check. You need to verify health check, right? In the background.
Yeah, correct.
Based on the health check, the Eureka registry will be up and down. Correct, right? Based on health check, Eureka registry will be, because we saw that Eureka service is up and down will be there, right? In Eureka service registry. So for circuit breaker to redirect it to the fallback API or to redirect to the actual API, that depends on Eureka service registry. Okay. So by default, if you don't have Eureka service registry at all, assuming that, okay, what is your logic of redirecting to the actual API without knowing the port number? I want to call order service from client side, from Angular or React client. I want to call order service. I want to call payment service. Only gateway itself, you will write the code and gateway will redirect without service registry. That is what your point?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Chetan, I have one question.
Yeah.
Like without service registry, is there any alternative you are using in your like how all our microservices are registered without service registry?
We use OpenShift. In OpenShift, there is this service which will route the request to your pods. So basically, we have routes as load balancers. The route will reroute the request to service and then service to pod. So that way, I can still call the pod with just the pod name. So it's just like Eureka. In Eureka, we call it directly. I mean, when we are using Eureka, we call an API with the service name. The same way, I can call a pod with just the service name in OpenShift.
Now, how you will come to know if the service is down?
Yeah, so we enable actuator endpoints, health and Prometheus and some other metrics. So based on
Correct.
the
But
health part, yeah.
No, based on, for example, actuator health. Okay. You need to write a code on triggering the health point to your own part. You need to write a code, right?
Yeah, correct.
Am I right? You need to write a code. And
Yeah.
second point is, we will not give any port number on a client side in this architecture. What is our URL from client side? For example, if I want to call, right, http ashokit.com colon 8989 /order/book. Only I will write gateway port, right? http ashokit.com 8989 payment/do pay. Right? Now,
Yeah.
in this case, I'm not writing any port number. Now, gateway will redirect it to your own part. Definitely, you need to mention somewhere else 9192 related to, yeah, go ahead.
Correct, sir. So by default, HTTP request goes to 8080, right? And HTTPS goes to 443. And then from 443, the route happens to the actual port number that we do. So outside world, they just call 443. Inside the cluster, it gets rerouted to 8090 or wherever my pod is running.
But where you'll mention,
In the
where you'll
service
write that,
itself, we can redirect the traffic to the required ports in the YAML file of the service or the config
okay,
of the service.
in the config of gateway.
Uh, Not gateway, this service. I mean, we have this routes and services, right, in Kubernetes.
Okay. In Kubernetes routing, sorry, your Kubernetes routing gateway is pointing to Kubernetes routing.
Kubernetes routing, yeah. So
Okay.
we actually use OpenShift again, the same, but
Okay. Similar to that, actually. Yes.
similar.
Similar to that. Okay. If that is the case, yeah, now I got the complete picture. Now, if that is the case, now Kubernetes cluster is having health check. It is having health check actually. Now, circuit breaker, how Eureka is doing, same it will do. It will perform the same API. You can do it. Gateway level itself, we can write. Whatever the code that is written here, it will same work for you. You don't need to have Eureka registry at that time.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So in that case, like, should we mention in Histrix service anywhere that, okay, you can verify the health check at this
Correct.
endpoint and then you can
That's
decide.
what. Yes. That's what I'm about to say. About to explain the code. You can get an idea. Okay.
I have one
Okay.
question. Yeah. Instead of circuit breaker in the Kubernetes, there is a cluster is there. Cluster having number of pods. If, for example, order service pod will be down, again it will create a replicas. It will forward to replicas. Is it correct? Create the instances again.
No. That's the point. Okay, sir. If order, I mean, you are talking about high availability. This is not high availability. Okay, please. There is a small, very minute gap. Okay. High availability means what, sir? In my cluster, I have 4 instances. Okay. Assuming that Amazon cluster in India, one cluster is in Delhi, another cluster is in Hyderabad, another cluster is in Mumbai, another cluster is in Kerala. If one of the node is down, the remaining 3 will be active, primary and secondary like that. That is not what we are referring here. Okay. My entire order service itself is down. I'm stopping the entire order service because of the code glitch. I don't want to spin up or I don't want to create one and same order instance again. I want to hit a alternate API as intentionally I make it down. Intentionally I made it down to correct the code bug. It's not that providing high availability. You got it? What I'm referring?
Yeah, got it.
It's a small gap, very, very small gap. Lot of people will confuse there. Okay. We are not providing high availability here. What is high availability? In my hardware, one of the instances is down. I'll create the same replica in another, that is edge location or some kind of a replica location, where I'll have a cluster. It will have a health check. It will go to, if the first site is not there, it will go to secondary site. The code available in all the sites almost same. Not almost, everything is same. Okay. That is only in case of providing high availability, which we call that as a, there is a word for that.
Scale up
Disaster
and
recovery. Disaster
Oh.
recovery. DR, disaster recovery. Okay. That's completely, I can say that hardware failure. Purely hardware or network failure. That's it. That is not a software. It's not a software problem. My service, my machine is down. My internet is down. My hard disk is crashed. That is disaster recovery for that. Now here is, I wrote a code in auto service, but somehow it is not working as expected. Now I want to intentionally down it. I want to correct it. That's the point here. Correct? Yeah. Does it make sense?
yeah.
Chaitanya, any other question? Are you good?
I'm good, sir.
Yeah, anyone? Can we see the code, guys? Anyone? Any other follow-up questions here?
Yeah. Actually, we also using Red
Mhm.
Hat OpenShift Container 4.3, Chaitanya, and that is on premises, correct? We like now we are going to migrating from Red Hat OpenShift Container to AWS EKS. Like in Red Hat OpenShift Container, uh, it is the on premises. Like is it how we can these things, load balancing and spin up and spin down?
Okay. So basically, this Red Hat OpenShift, right? It is built on top of Kubernetes, and then it's just providing UI to Kubernetes. Usually, your KH you can do it with commands, and OpenShift you have a UI. So the functionality would exactly be the same. It's just you have additional UI in OpenShift. That's it. So
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
whatever the load balancing you have, it will still be there in Kubernetes EKS also.
Okay. Yeah.
We have a dedicated UI where we can mention those details, and based on it. Yeah, that's what.
Okay. Okay. Sir. Thank you, Chaitanya. Thank you.
Yeah,
Vijay, sir.
but one point, sir. Okay, in future, n number of alternatives will come. OpenShift or n number of alternate comes, but the Spring Boot design, I'm really appreciate on the Spring Boot design point of view. The gateway and circuit breaker, they are not only work for Spring Cloud. Okay, I can add the same endpoint in everywhere. The functionality will always same. They wrote the code in very, very generic fashion. The beauty of Spring Cloud, I mean, these microservices designs, right? If you take service registry, if you take gateway, if you take circuit breaker, if you take resiliency 4G, if you take event-driven architecture, all those things, right? On any of the cloud, on any of the environment, if I configure, automatically it will work without writing any manual code. Just like where if circuit breaker, if Eureka is not there, in place of Eureka, some other alternative is there, but still it will work. As long as if you design the system in such a way that where you are mentioning the gateway should validate through some other alternative, service registry or some other alternative. And in your architecture, you may keep Eureka service registry and gateway will be another thing. AWS gateway or some other gateway also, that's fine. So a loosely coupled architecture, okay? If your architecture is in the same path, what exactly Spring Cloud is doing, if the other clouds are also doing the same functionality, then We can plug and play anything. Now circuit breaker, same I can apply, and I no need to write a code of measuring health check. Is it up or is it down? I no need to write any kind of code here. Automatically it will work. That's the point I want to highlight. That is a loosely coupled architecture where I want to refer. Okay. Right. I hope everyone is clear. Can we go to the coding point? This is the architecture diagram which I am, sir, writing order fallback, payment fallback at gateway level. There is no one is mentioning that you need to write here. Please remember, we need to write over here is there is no design and there is no recommendation. It's purely our choice. As the complexity of this particular fallback logic is not that much great. It does not take much time. Few milliseconds only it will take. And as my bootstrap class, it's a Spring Boot, right? Bootstrap class is there, right? What is the specialty of bootstrap class? What is the specialty of bootstrap class? Auto scan. I hope everyone is aware, right? Auto scan. Auto scan is the capability which will load the interface even though it's in class path. Even though it's in class path, it will not load immediately. On demand, it will load through IOC. That is the auto scan facility which is provided by the Spring Boot with the bootstrap class of Spring Boot application. I hope everyone is aware that basics of Spring Boot application. So my intention is, if I write my fallback API, order fallback or payment fallback, this will not be loaded in the memory. This will not be loaded in the memory until dispatcher servlet route to the traffic. This will not be active at any point of time unless someone call me to that. Sir, for example, my intention is, what I am trying to say is, I wrote order service, I wrote payment service, I wrote service registry, I wrote gateway, I wrote config server. In the gateway itself, I wrote order fallback, payment fallback, I wrote it. Okay. But order fallback and payment fallback will not be registered or they are not be loaded. Okay. Because of auto scan functionality of a gateway in a bootstrap class. What is it actually? If my order service never goes down, payment service never goes down, then this will not be loaded in the memory itself. Runtime memory allocation, right? Dynamic memory allocation of dispatcher servlet dynamic configuration. If something is down, that time only order fallback will be loaded, payment failback will be loaded. That's why it is no memory impact on gateway level itself also, as the auto scan facility at a bootstrap class is having that flexibility. That is another point where I want to highlight. So maximum best practices are to have a fallback APIs in the gateway level itself. One of the best option. And this option may not feasible. This option may not feasible if you have more number of fallback services. Understand? If you have more number of fallback services are there, this option may not be feasible. Like I have 50 microservices, sir. Okay. In my architecture, I have 50 microservices are there, sir. Out of 50, if I have 40 fallback services, ideally not possible, but if I have, can I write all 40 fallback points in the gateway level itself? It's not correct. We should not load gateway with heavy code. The DLLs, the jar size, whenever jar size increases, reflection will take time, right? So we should keep a lightweight. That's why maybe 2 or 3 or 4 fallback we can write, not more than that. That is also another point you need to remember. So in any microservice application, maximum fallback APIs are payment fallback, order fallback, and those are the things are available here. Not much great actually. Okay. I hope, are you clear on that points, right, guys? Everyone is clear on these points? Whatever I mentioned just 10 minutes back, or any other question is that, right? What I explained here, sir, at a nutshell, what I explained here, writing fallback API in the gateway level is one of the best practice. And Spring Boot is loading that dispatcher servlet dynamic configuration. That's why these fallback APIs will not be active always. Okay? They will not be loaded in the memory by default. That's the intention. Also, this approach may not feasible if you have more number of fallback APIs. Keep that in mind. Clear? This is the interview question, guys. You should attempt in that way. Okay, everyone is clear? Now,
Sir,
Go ahead.
sir, actually, you are telling fallback method will write API gateway, but it will not loaded while like in the dispatcher servlet. That will, but see, whenever we will start the application, it will load all registry and API gateway, which are the services, no? Automatically it will load, no?
By default, sir,
Then
in
yeah.
I'll explain. Okay. By default, for example, sir, I have a service. Okay. I wrote a service. In that, I mean, I wrote a microservice, or I wrote instead of service, I wrote @ Spring Boot application. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sir.
I wrote here 10 controllers.
Okay.
Controller 1, controller 2,
Okay.
up to controller 10.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when I load this, all the 10 controllers are registered in IOC container.
Correct.
They will be registered in IOC container. Okay. Memory allocation means, what is the memory allocation? Controller 1 obj is equal to IOC.getController1. Something like this is the memory allocation.
Correct.
This will not be done at runtime. This will not be done at runtime. What is there in the runtime? All the objects are available in the IOC container. A memory area will be created, and controller 1, controller 2, controller 3, all are available in the IOC. Okay.
Okay.
Now, whenever I am hitting HTTP localhost, okay, 8080, something like I wrote some endpoint which will hit controller 1. That time only
Create
dynamic
the
the dynamic memory allocation. That time a real object will be created in the heap memory, and it is going to call that. Once the object is, once the API is done, this invocation is done, right? IOC, that's what I told. Not here in the demo classes. Spring Boot in demo class I told. Okay. Once the API invocation is done, then whatever the object which is created in the heap memory, that will be moved back to stock memory. Automatically, it's over. Efficient memory management. That is not available in EJB and RMI, which is available only in Spring. Efficient memory management will not get long dot out of memory at any point of time. The reason is, every object will not be created. It will be created on demand whenever the controller 1 is hitting. Now, in the same example, @ Spring Boot application, we have a gateway, right, sir? Here
Yes, sir.
I wrote fallback 1. Okay, correct, right, sir?
Yes, sir.
And I wrote fallback 2. The memory will not be allocated to fallback 1 and fallback 2 unless someone call me, unless someone call that fallback go to fallback 1, go to call fallback 2. Till that time, memory is not created. Till that time, the area is not there. Dynamically, it will load that. So, writing them and attaching them does not give any side effect for me, because the logic is very small logic and jar size is not increasing, var size is not increasing that great, and these not be loaded at runtime. Sorry, not compile. I mean, whenever we start it, it will not be loaded. If someone calls that, then only it will be loaded. Otherwise, it will not be loaded. That is the intention I'm telling. I hope you're getting clarity, right?
Yes, but registration will be whenever we are calling, registration will happen.
Correct. What is the registration? Web application context will be created. What is the web application context? A separate memory area is created. Hey, in this Spring Boot application, these many controllers are there. These many REST controllers are there. This is the dispatcher servlet will be created. That's it. And memory will not be created at any point of time unless someone calls. If you want to show practical also, I can show. Can we see that?
Yeah, sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Can I show you or not required? Practically.
Show me, sir, if you have time.
Yeah, no, not time. Just like I'll create one small hello world application. I'll show you once.
Yeah, okay, sir.
I already have. The reason I'm taking is because I'm starting the new batch in the Spring Boot, right? So I've shown them recently. That's why I have example. I'll show. Okay.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute. Let it load. Yeah. Meanwhile, anyone any questions? As of now, let it load.
So, sir, this memory management and IOC lifecycle, you explained that in demo session, sir, or is it after them?
Generally, sir, in Spring Boot, we'll take a batch, right, sir? Spring Boot regular batch will take, right?
Yeah, in regular batch only, like in demo session batch, or after demos, sir?
Demos and after demos. Maybe I'll share the recordings also. If at all, if you have a time, you can go through. I'll share the recordings. Yeah, I'll share the recordings. Okay. Now, sir, you saw here in this controller, I mean, in this Spring Boot application, Amazon controller, Hello World IMPL, SBI controller, and my Bootstrap class. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm running, sir. Now I'm running this application.
Okay.
So what it happens here? It is only created web application context. That means a IOC is created and all these controllers are available. Do you see any dispatcher servlet here?
Yeah.
No dispatcher servlet here. Okay. Now, let me clear the console so that you will not confuse. I'm clearing the console. Localhost :8080. Oh, sorry. Spelling mistake. Now you saw, after I hit this API, I am explicitly hitting an endpoint. That time,
dispatcher
servlet is initialized. That time only, if I don't hit, dispatcher servlet will not be invoked. Object is not created. If I don't hit, that object will not be created at all. This is what I thought of showing.
Yeah.
Lot of people will not observe this. Okay. But that That's why I always cover basics points in my demo. Whenever I do demo, right? First of all, why? What is the beauty of Spring Boot? Even design patterns also we covered, right? Monolithic and SOA and microservices in depth we went, right? So just I thought of covering basic things so that you'll come to the best of that. Okay, right? Okay, I think Vinod, you got high level clarity. What I meant to say. That's why.
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
No problem. That's why what I mean to say that where writing extra points in the gateway does not impact anything, but at the same time, I cannot load more services, 10 services, 20 services. In maximum 2, 3, 4, 5, that's it, maximum. And you can measure the var file size. If these APIs are there, if these APIs are not there. And by that, you can take a decision. Okay? Right. Sir, I hope everyone is comfortable on 645 to 745. Can we continue the same up to a couple of days, guys, if you don't mind?
Yeah, from my side, I'm okay, sir.
Anyone has any concern? 645 to 745, couple of days only. Maybe we'll see, try so that. And by the time is that participant is joined, who is engaged? Because execution wise, if you are facing issues, right, you may not understand. Who asked me? Anyone remembered that time? The participant name anyone saw? I missed it actually. Someone asking some execution issues.
Yes, for me only. Hello.
You told execution side.
Yes.
You joined late, sir, today? I
Yes,
remember I asked.
Yes,
Okay. Okay. Is it possible? Can we join early, sir, tomorrow? Is possible? 6:45 sharp timing. Can you join? So that we'll see first 5 minutes execution issues.
Okay.
Or else I mentioned Google Classroom. I asked you to update. You update it, sir, if possible.
Okay, I'll join early today. Study.
No. I also mentioned. No, I didn't know. You are not the person. You are the. You told execution side.
Yes,
Some
I
other.
told. I told
Okay.
you.
Okay. I think maybe you can update here Google Classroom. What is the error you are getting? Anyone can also respond to that. Or tomorrow morning you can join. First, we'll see your issue. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. We'll meet tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you.